Kim. I'm here with my dog Lana. Lana, say hi. She's here to visit us because you guys voted on the Twitter poll to include her. So she's going to be here hanging out while we talk about 5 tips for talking about animals. So when we're talking about writing animals in a story, it's kind of like writing a character, but it's also a lot different than writing a character. For example, the first thing you have to do is you have to remember to have your character be responsible for the animal. There is nothing that bugs me more when I'm reading a story than like a character that has a dog. Sorry, this is right in her face. That has a dog and like just disappears overnight without thinking about taking care of the dog, especially if they live alone where they're not feeding the dog, walking the dog, letting the dog outside. So you have to remember that if you're going to have your characters have a pet that requires care, that they need to be responsible for that pet throughout the story. So that's just something to think about. Number 2 kind of builds on that. So number 2 is going to be don't forget about the animal. So there's actually a little bit of time in Consequences when I was writing it when I realized, oh my gosh, I forgot about Tim Tam. And Tim Tam is like everybody's favorite cat character that like anybody who reads the book is always like, oh, I love Tim Tam. He's so cute because he's like the best cat. But I realized partway through writing it that I had forgotten to include him as the camp kind of split up and different things happened. Luckily, I was able to put him back in pretty easily, and he had a pretty big role in the beginning of the book and a really, I think, heartfelt role at the end of the book. So it's just kind of making sure he didn't just disappear. And that happens a surprising amount when you're reading books. Like they have an animal to start with because you're building the world, you're building the character. Having them talk with the animals is a good way to, increase that character building or give some action and backstory without necessarily having to just give backstory, right? Because they're talking to their pet. So just don't drop the pet when they're no longer useful. Number 3, personality. Every pet has their own personality. So like in Wilder's, Tim Tam is like a pretty brave cat and he's really loyal. And then in my short from last year's Halloween anthology, Autumn Nights, there's a dog, Delphi, who's kind of based off of this little sweet pea right here. And Delphi's kind of a baby. Like he gets scared easily. He hates to go outside in the rain. And this one definitely does not like the water either, even though she's got those webbed paws that retrievers have for water, swimming. She just hates water. So that was kind of where that personality comes in. So your pets need to have a personality that's consistent. They can have growth, of course, just like humans can, particularly if they're pets that are omniscient or like, that's not the word I wanted. I didn't want to say omniscient, but I'm not going to cut this because I don't know how to cut video. But if they have a personality and they can talk, or they're like they're more like people, right? Then they can have character arcs where they show growth, of course, but you need to have that shown then. So overall, consistent personality for the pet, and you can really use that in your story building. Number 4 was... if you are writing about an animal you're unfamiliar with, maybe you always wanted a cat, but you were never allowed to have a cat, or, maybe you wanted horses, or you've never had horses, but because the way your fantasy novel is written, they ride horses everywhere. Take the time to really Google and watch videos of the pets so that you can see what they do, like how they move, maybe how to take care of them, because if I read a book about horses and they never brush them or, water them, stop to rest them, I'm going to wonder, like, well, are these magic horses? Are they just really mean people? So take the time to really look at how to care for the animals in your story, and then look at how they move too, because that's going to inform how you describe the scenes with the animals in them. Like, for example, in my Autumn Night short with Delphi, the dog that's kind of modeled after Lana here, there's like a scene where he's chasing his like dish across the floor, and it's a metal dish, and it's like skittering as he's trying to eat, right? Because dogs do that a lot. They get really into eating, and then their food bowls just kind of wander if they're not on a map. And then number 5 is kind of a rule that it might be a controversial rule, but to me it's kind of a rule. Don't kill the dog or the horse, or, if you're going to kill a pet in your story, it needs to really serve a purpose. I found that readers in general, just talking with other readers and doing Twitter polls and looking at other people's Twitter polls and stuff, readers will forgive you if you kill a character, even if it's someone honorable like Ned Stark, but they're less likely to forgive you if you kill a pet. Like, using the Game of Thrones example, or Song of Ice and Fire example, when Sansa lets her direwolf get killed, it's a whole different feeling for me than when Ned Stark gets killed. And I know that's probably unfair because, one's a person and one's not, but it just, oh, sorry for the spoilers. Oh, it's all in book 1, so it's okay. It's not really a spoiler if it's the first book, right? Oh. Okay, maybe don't watch this if you haven't read those books and want to. But anyways, it's different when you kill a pet or an innocent creature than when you kill a human in a story. People are going to react differently to it. So those are my 5 tips for writing animals. So be responsible with the animals. Don't just forget about the animals when they no longer serve the story. Make sure that they all have their own personality, because all animals do. Look at this lazy bones right here. And then Google or watch videos of how to care for the animals and how they move, so that you can write that more accurately. And then number 5, never kill the dog. So don't kill animals unnecessarily in your stories unless it's really to serve a purpose. Okay, that's about all. I did promise that I would try to do a British accent, since that was like my most popular Twitter post ever, was that I want a British accent. So you've all been giving me quite a lot of tips, but I really just can't do accents. And then also just a quick update for those of you that have been following me for a while on Twitter. You might remember that Lana here was diagnosed with a pretty aggressive form of oral cancer at the beginning of the year. And I'm very happy to report that she has had no regrowths. She's beating all of the odds so far, and she still has, even though she doesn't look like it, she still has a good amount of energy. She goes for about 2 mile worth of walks every day with me. And then she has a good appetite still. So just a quick update on my little cutie butt right here. I can't believe she stayed with me the whole video. She's not a big snuggler, so I thought she might go and just like sit in the corner, but she stayed. Okay, I hope you guys have a wonderful weekend. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet. It just really reinforces the benefit of these videos if people watch and subscribe. Okay, thanks so much, guys. Bye.